Alright, hello everyone. Today we are going to have a lesson on preposition and noun. Firstly, the reason why prepositions are too difficult to learn to many students is because prepositions are different from language to language, and sometimes you simply can't really translate from your own language, from Vietnamese into English, right? And there are a lot of fixed expressions or fixed uses of prepositions that we'll need to learn and to practice in order to get familiar with them, all right? First of all, I'm going to give you a quote so that we can get started. So here we have an adjective, angry. I'm going to use this cover slide. So the word that I'm going to give you today is angry. Alright, so you know what angry means, right? Angry, of course, means that you are very happy and you are frustrated. And your temper, you may have a hot temper, or your temperature may go high, right? And I'm going to give you a quote with this adjective, angry, and to show you how prepositions are used in this example. So, alright, to be angry is easy. Anyone can become angry. But to be angry at the right time, with the right person, for the right purpose, in the right way, and to the right degree is not easy, and is not within everyone's power. I'm going to write that down. Alright, so anyone can become angry, that's easy. But to be angry to the right degree. To the right degree. Degree here means level, right? Degree means level. How high or how low, right? But to be angry to the right degree. In the right way. In the right way. With the right person. With the right person. At the right time. At the right time. Last one. For the right purpose. This is not easy and it's not within everyone's power. Not everyone can do that. Alright, so in this example, we've just seen that 5 different prepositions have been used in only one statement. Alright, so different nouns go with different prepositions, right? And prepositions, therefore, can be complicated, and hopefully after this lesson, you get more familiar and you have a better understanding of how prepositions are used in different contexts. Here we go. Alright, so as you can see on this first slide, this is Stephen King. I believe that he's a famous writer, a famous book writer, a professional writer. And here we have Elton John, who you may already know. He's a famous singer and music composer from Britain, right? And here we have Steven Spielberg, who's from America, I think. So the first preposition that is presented to you guys today is by. So we say a book by Stephen King, a song by Elton John, and a film by Steven Spielberg. Alright, so by here is actually short for this longer version. So here we go. So, which is written is put in the middle between book and by. So the longer version is a book which is written by Stephen King. Which is written or which was written depending on the context, right? So here we have a shorter version, a clipped, an abbreviated version of it, which is a book by Stephen King. So you can see that which is written is omitted here. And we don't see that in this version. You understand? Now, some Vietnamese students that I've met would use of instead of by, which is incorrect, right? So a book of Stephen King is not correct. A book of Stephen King would mean that this is a book about a certain person, right? Here we are talking about the writer, the author, the person who wrote the book actually, and the preposition, that's why, is by. So again, we have a book by Stephen King. And similarly, we have a song which is composed. And this could be put right here, right? So the longer version is a song which is composed, which is created, which is made by Elton John. And the shorter version, which is more frequently used, and that is a song by Elton John, right? Here we have a film which is what? Which is directed or which is produced, right? Or directed. I think he's a director, so directed. Forgive me for the little space that we have in here. But anyway, this is a film which is produced by or which is directed by Steven Spielberg, right? And normally people just say a film by Steven Spielberg. So again, the preposition is used. Let's move on to the next slide. Alright, so let's talk a little about different forms of the media, right? We have the radio, the TV, and we have the internet, things like that, right? The preposition used with different forms of the media may confuse some of the English learners, particularly if they are from a different culture, right? Like the Vietnamese culture. So for the radio, we have on the radio. I heard it. The boy. He looks like he heard it on the radio, right? And you rarely use the radio only. The article the is kind of a must and is necessarily put there in front of the radio. So the is important, right? The here is important. Don't miss it. Don't say on radio. Let's say on the radio, right? TV. On, right? I saw it on TV, right? I saw it on TV, not in, not from, not to, on TV. Next one, the phone. We spoke on the phone. On the phone. So on is the right preposition to go with the phone, right? Next one, newspaper is the only exception, which is why it's put at the end of the slide. And we don't say on the newspaper, we say in the newspaper, right? So in the newspaper, in refers to the content of the newspaper or what's enclosed, what's inside the newspaper, right? It's not something on the surface. So here in this case, if you put a cup or a glass on the newspaper, you are talking about the surface only, the horizontal surface. But here we are talking about the content which is presented in the newspaper, so the preposition is in. Again, let's have a review. We have a book by Stephen King, a song by Elton John, a movie or a film by Steven Spielberg. And here we have on the radio, on TV, on the phone, in the newspaper. Let's move on. Okay, now when you use the preposition for, we can actually express a number of meanings. Okay, so for example, the first use of preposition for, to go for something. The structure, to go for something, meaning you're going in order to take part in a certain activity or a thing, an activity, right? You can have to go for a walk, which means to walk, basically. To go for a swim, which means to go swimming, to swim. Go for a run, which means to go running, to go in order to run, to practice running, right? So to go for something, to go for an activity could be used in replacement to the infinitive verb only. So instead of I enjoy walking in the evening, you can say I enjoy going for a walk in the evening, right? Go for something. And similarly, we have go shopping or we don't say going for a shop, no, so go shopping only. Alright, the next preposition here is by, right? And you can travel by car, by train, by plane, by bus. Remember that no articles should be put between by and the vehicle. Let me show you. Now, some students in the writing tests, they put a car or the car here, by a car and by the car, which is completely incorrect, okay? So A is not here and the is not here. So you don't say by a car or by the car. So you don't put the articles, either a or either the, between by and car, okay? Why? Because we are not talking about a particular car. We are not talking about your car or my cousin's car, right? We are talking about the kind of transport that we use in order from A to B, from B to A, right? So just by car, not by a car, not by the car. Remember that, all right? You can say in my car, which is okay. For example, you can say, I forgot the keys in my car, because in here would refer to the correct location where you put the keys previously, right? So you can say in my car, which is okay, but with by, no articles needed, all right? So similarly, you don't say by a train, no, just by train, all right? And you don't say by trains at all, you don't say that, all right? So no plural, all right? Just by train, by plane, by bus, which is completely fine and will be, of course, 100% accepted by speakers of English all over the world, all right? Now we have more terms to use here. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but at night. So at night is the exception here. And next one we have in the blue jumper. A jumper, what is a jumper? A jumper is like a sweater. A sweater, okay, so this is a synonymous word. Jumper is like a piece of clothing made of wool, which does not open at the front, right? And in British English, they say jumper. But in American English, they would say a sweater. So a sweater and a jumper are exactly the same, but depending on the accent, on the English accent that you choose to learn, whether it's British English or American English, you can choose the word to use in different contexts. So you can say in the blue jumper, in the blue sweater, in the red sweater, right? Sweater. So in is used to talk about the clothes that you are in. You can say, I am wearing a black, I'm not sure if it's a sweater, but it's a woolen jacket, right? You can say, I am in the blue jumper, or I am wearing a blue jumper, right? Which is fine either way. And if you have glasses here, if you are short-sighted or so, you can have glasses which would help you read easily, or which would help you to look at tiny things from a distance, right? You can say, she is the girl in glasses, or you can say, in the dark glasses, right? So in glasses. All right. And just one more thing before we move on to the next slide. Here we don't use plural, but you can also use plural in some certain situations. For example, you can say, I work in the morning, or I work in the mornings. Either way is fine. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to talk now on the fixed expressions, or the expressions that most native speakers of English would say, which is a natural way to speak English, all right? First, we have by mistake. I took his pen by mistake. What does it mean by mistake? By mistake means you didn't want to steal it. You didn't steal it, right? You didn't mean to take his pen, and it was totally an accident. It's not something that you intended to do, right? So by mistake, meaning you didn't intend to do it. I took his pen by mistake, meaning you didn't intend to take the pen. You didn't mean to take the pen, and it was totally an accident. You didn't want to steal it. You didn't steal it, all right? So by mistake, meaning you didn't mean it. It was just an accident. And the similar page would be here. I would put the arrow over here. So by mistake and by chance are pretty much similar, right? I met them by chance. By chance meaning I met them. I didn't intend to meet them. It was just an accident. I just came across them. I didn't know that I would meet these guys, right? I just met them unintentionally. So we have similar phrases, which I'll tell you later. But here, by chance and by mistake are very similar and can be used interchangeably. By myself or on my own. All right. I did all the work by myself. I did all the work on my own. Meaning I finished all the work, I completed all the work without the help of others. It was only me who got involved in the project and finished it from A to Z, right? So you didn't have any help. Nobody supported you to do the project, and it was only you who did the project. So you did it on your own or by yourself. By myself, on my own, similarly and can be used interchangeably. You can have by herself, on her own, by himself, on his own, by yourself, on your own, by themselves, on their own, by ourselves, on our own. Understand? Perfect. Alright, and the last one on this page. The shoes are made by hand. Handmade, right? So these are handmade shoes, or the shoes are made by hand. You don't say by hands, though you would use both hands to do that, but you don't say by hands because we are talking about a way that we do it. We are not talking about the number of hands or the number of people getting involved. You understand? So we say the shoes are made by hand, not by machine. So by machine is the opposite of by hand. Before we move on to the next slide, I'd like to highlight a few important phrases that we've learned on this page only. So this is page 5, so we'll remember to go back here. And alright, I'm going to use this board to demonstrate the words that I'm going to teach you. Here we have, by mistake, this is right? This you have learned already, by mistake. By chance, or by chance in American English. By accident. Accidentally. Unintentionally. One, two, three, four, five. All right. And on the opposite column, we have on purpose. Intentionally. Alright, so we have a few phrases, as I remember, that you can actually learn. So here we have by mistake, by chance, by accident, accidentally, or unintentionally. Here we have on purpose, which is the opposite. And we have intentionally, alright? And by mistake equals by chance, which is similar to by accident, which can be used interchangeably for accidentally, and unintentionally would mean the same, alright? So, same meaning, alright? Alright, let's go back to slide number 6. Alright, here we have the preposition on and out of, right? The workers are on strike, alright? So if you look at the pictures, these people are in a march together and they have put up signs, different signs that say on strike. So the workers are on strike, meaning the workers are unhappy about either their working conditions, about the long hours that they have to work every day, or the pay, the salaries that they receive every month. So because they are not happy, they threaten the employers that if you don't give us a pay rise, if you don't allow us to work fewer hours, we may not work for this company anymore, we may quit job, and you'll see what happens after that. Scary, huh? So these workers are on strike. They are saying that if you don't change the work conditions, I may not continue to work for you anymore, which is scary for most employers, I believe. Alright, next one, we have holiday and fun, and of course we are talking about the children. The children are on holiday. On holiday, meaning they are having a vacation and they have no classes, they don't have to go to school, they don't have to attend any classes at all. So they are on holiday, they're having a fun time. Just a little note with pronunciation. This is ha or ha in American English. So in British English, I believe they would say ha, holiday. But in American English, a lot of people would say holiday. So in American English, there's a lot holiday, right? And this little e, you don't really say holiday. You don't say holiday. Why? Because the stress of the word is here on ha. So you're going to stress here ha, right? Ha, like Santa Claus. You're saying holiday. Da, right? So holiday, not li. Li is very strong and not necessary, right? Here it's turned into the weak form of the word li. So li becomes la, the weak form, right? So it goes like holiday, holiday. Right, perfect, very good. And the building's on fire. The building's on fire. Of course, you know what a fire is. And if you don't, just look at the picture. It totally explains the meaning of the term on fire. And the last one, there are 2 million out of work. Out of work. So out of refers to a lack of something. So out of work, meaning these people do not have work. They are jobless or unemployed. Alright, so if you look at the picture, you can see this man holds a sign that says in need or just lazy. I think it's a joke put by probably the author of this article. So a lot of people who are without jobs, they are either lazy or incapable of doing a proper job, right? Alright, so out of work, I'm going to give you a couple of synonyms to use just in case. So we have out of work and we have jobless. Alright? Or we can have without a job, or we can have unemployed. Alright, so jobless. So jobless would mean out of work. Jobless means out of work, which also means without a job. Without a job and unemployed. Alright, so if you say, are you unemployed? Which is similar to, are you without a job? Are you out of work? Or are you jobless? Okay? Job is countable, so you can have 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. You can work 2 jobs at the same time, but work is uncountable, so you can't count the amount of work. So you don't say 1 work, 2 works, which is weird. You just say work, hard work, difficult work, easy work, right? So job, countable, work, uncountable, though they have the same meaning. Let's move on. Alright, so by accident, on purpose, we mentioned this before, right? By accident would mean by mistake, by chance, unintentionally, or accidentally, right? On purpose, this is the opposite. On purpose means he intended to do it, and it was not a mistake, right? So if you look at the pictures, the first one says that this man was surprised, right? If you can see his face is like, surprise! I just broke the plate by accident. I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry that I broke the plate. I'm so sorry, right? You are not, this is not something that you planned. This is not something that you wanted to do. But the opposite would be to break the plate on purpose. So, for example, this chef just threw the plate against the wall to break it down, right? So this is something that he wanted to do, that he planned to do. Alright, and to be in a hurry, I think in a hurry would be fine. So why are they always in a hurry, right? So these people look like they need to do something quickly. They need to go somewhere quickly, right? To be in a hurry, meaning to do things very quickly because you need to do something else later on, or you may need to get somewhere at a certain time, so you have to rush yourself off, right? You have to be in a rush, to be in a hurry. Hurry can be used as a verb. You can say, I want to hurry to the shop, or I want to hurry to go swimming at 5 o'clock, alright? So hurry could be used as a verb or as a noun in the phrase, in a hurry. Let's move on. Alright, and here we have some confusing cases where prepositions are used, alright? So we have the now time. You know what time is, right? But different prepositions can be used with time. They can be in or they can be on. So you can say in time or on time. And they would mean differently, right? So in time and on time are different, but how are they used differently? Let's take a look at the examples to see that more clearly, right? Lessons begin at 8:30 and the students are usually here on time. To be on time is to be at a certain location at the specific time at a planned time. For example, if your class starts at 9 in the morning and you always get to your class at 9, that you are on time, right? Good students are usually on time. Good teachers are usually on time too. I believe that any workers or employees and employers, people generally should be on time, which is sometimes difficult to do. The next example we have, if we hurry, we'll be there in time, right? So to be in time is not to be late for something. For example, if a movie starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if you can get to the cinema at 2 o'clock, of course, you are good and you are on time. But if you arrive at the theater or the cinema at 2:15, which is 15 minutes late, but the movie has not started yet, so the movie has not shown yet on screen, you are lucky. You've made it in time. So in time for the movie, still be late, but in time for a certain activity or thing. You get that? The difference between on time and in time? I hope you do. And this is also the last page, the last slide that we're going to talk about today. We have a couple of confusing preposition pairs here as follows. We have in the end and at the end. Okay, so what's the difference between in the end and at the end? If you can notice, they use grammatically, in the end, after in the end, a subject and a verb is used, meaning a clause is used. After subject, verb, we have a clause, and in the end is used after the clause, right? At the end is used with of and a noun. Correct? So here we have at the end of something. In the end, clause. In the end, subject, verb. At the end of a noun. Alright. So in the end means finally. For example, we were tired of waiting. So in the end, we went home. Finally, we went home. Finally, we made it home, right? So in the end, meaning finally, after all, eventually, okay? Whereas at the end of something refers to the last part of something. This could be the last chapter of the book, the last version, the last page, the last section, the last part of a certain book or magazine or something, alright? So at the end of something, meaning the last part of a whole thing, whereas in the end means finally, eventually, at the end, after all. Alright? Business, we have in business and on business. In business, meaning they are doing business together. So these two men are at a table talking about work. And these two men have been in business. They are in business, meaning they are doing work together. They are cooperating together. They are partners. Okay? Whereas on business, meaning this is the purpose of your trip to a certain location or place. They are both in Germany on business. This is the map of Germany. But here, these people travel from one country to another, from one location to another on a trip, on a business trip. Because they are on a business trip, we say they are on business. You get that? So in business, meaning they are business partners, they are doing work together, whereas on business, meaning they are on a business trip. They are going somewhere for business purposes. Alright, is that clear? And the last confusing pair of prepositions that we have here today is in a moment and at the moment. Alright, so let's take a look at the grammatical points in the examples that we have. So, I will see you. Alright, so I will see you. We are talking about the future, right? And the next example we have, I can't speak to you, which is the present tense. Alright, so the future, the present. Can you guess the meanings after you know the verb tenses? In a moment, we use in a moment to talk about a moment in the future. I will talk to you in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in 1 hour, in 3 hours, in 3 days, in a couple of weeks. I will talk to you in the future, alright? So in talks about the future, a moment in the future which is not the present yet, right? So we have, I'll see you in a moment, meaning not now, maybe in 10, 5, couple of minutes, when I have this done, for example. Whereas at the moment means now, at the present, at this particular moment, in the present now, right? So I can't speak to you now, I'm busy. I'm in the middle of something and I just can't get to talk to you right now, right? So at the moment means now, basically. Is it clear? Crystal clear, correct? And no more slides to flip around. This is the end of the lesson that we have today on the use of preposition and noun. I hope that this lesson has been useful for you and will be. My name is KimPhuong. Take care.